Hopefully you guys can hear that. Welcome back, you guys. It's been a minute. Here is a 2024 Lotus Emira 2.0 turbo. I know it's not the 6-speed supercharged V6. I drove that 12 months ago, right around here actually, somewhere in Southern California. But I figured this requires me to at least give the automatic dual clutch car a chance, right? So this one's in Magma Red. Beautiful color. I thought and was kind of hoping it would be a little bit darker. In some lights, it looks a little bit brighter. It's almost got like an orange bronze tone to it, but again, I'm only slightly colorblind, so take that with a grain of salt. I don't mind my camera. My mic. Don't mind my mic here. I'm gonna try to get some exhaust audio at the same time as you can hear me, because the Emira, in my brief 24 hours so far with the car, makes all kinds of noises, and boost noises especially. 295s in the back. You can see the tire actually right there, extracting some pressure there. And 245s, if I remember correctly from last year. Yeah, 245s there. And just a lightweight mid-engine car. Unfortunately, the 2-liter AMG turbocharged engine does not come with the option of a manual, which is unfortunate. After driving this car though, honestly, even just for 24 hours, I don't think it would do this car any service. I don't think it would do this car any benefit, really, to give it a manual. It's a very boosty engine. You guys will see in a second. We've got a great road to go up. There's nothing to look at here. In the V6 car, there were things to look at. Here, it's just Lotus. There you go, that's it. Some of the boost noises you'll see, it's coming from right here, this intake. As soon as you open the window, it is ridiculous, trust me. Yeah, you've got a little bit of cargo space there. You guys can see my Pelican case and my backpack there. It's enough space. Dual exhaust. Beautiful. God, this car, I mean, I could just stand here and look at it all day long. What a gorgeous car. It is effectively what you buy if for some reason you don't want a 718, if you don't want a Cayman or a Boxster. And to me, that's okay. This definitely has a much more exotic look than those cars. I would never get bored of parking this car, looking at it, yet it's not a supercar, so it doesn't draw the amount of attention that a McLaren would necessarily draw. And it, to me, hopefully, will age well. It seems like to me it would age well and will age well. But let's go for a drive. You can see here a little bit of space in there, but there is just suspension components and stuff. It's kind of like an SW20 MR2 in that sense, although even in an SW20 you had a little bit of space there, especially if you took out the spare tire to store some things. Effectively, you could just, you know, throw some carpet in there and you'd be good to go. Easy to get in, as you guys can see. It doesn't have a crazy sill. It actually kind of comes in to greet you, so it's not too difficult to get in. Tan interior. I am not offended by the tan interior, although with this Magma Red, I would do something different. I would probably do just all black. The previous one I drove had a really light tan interior, almost white. I really like that. I love that look, but again, flavor of the week. Start stop button here with this kind of Lamborghini-esque red bit here. You've just got to lift up to start it and stop it. In a lot of ways, this is the polarization in the enthusiast market. I see so many comments, especially on the main channel, of people going, well, the automatic's faster. Why would you ever want a manual? The automatic's quicker. I'm like, if you say that sentence, you've already lost the plot. We're in totally different worlds. I don't even need to have a conversation with you, because people who drive sticks do not drive them to go quicker. That doesn't even enter their mind as a logical thing. Driving a stick shift in 2025 is not a logical decision, nor is the Lotus Emira as a purchasing decision. But I'm trying to see, and we will find out in the full review on the main channel, if this could truly be your only car. Oh, and I forgot to mention before we set off, this is the touring version. It has been spec'd with the touring suspension. So the tuning and the dampers are slightly different, and then the spring rates, it's got different springs. So it's a little bit stiffer. And instead of the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, I want to say, which was on the previous car I drove, the non-touring suspension, the sport suspension, this one is on Goodyear Eagle F1s all seasons. So we'll see how it does. Not much to play around with. Drive modes, we've got Tour, we've got Sport, and we've got Track. We're gonna start in Tour. And the exhaust, you guys can see here, quietest, powertrain quietest, stability all the way on, and we'll kind of work our way up from there, get ahead of this car right now. Let's go. Wow, even in Tour, it knows I'm going quickly. A blip there, and it's holding 4,500 RPM. All right. Tour is super lazy on the freeway, so I was worried it would lag behind up here, but it's actually half decent. All right, let's go into Sport, if only for the exhaust noise. Or Track, or we can just skip all the way to Track. Wow. Crackles from the exhaust. The shifts are quite a bit crisp, more crisp. Really good power. So even since the beginning, when this car came out, this car, the first edition, it's been quoted on Lotus's USA website to make 400 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque, I believe it is. But now they've actually just recently come out with the 2026 Turbo SE, which now they're saying, at least over in Europe, now makes 400 instead of 360 and like 350 pound-feet of torque. So I'm not sure. This feels like 400 horsepower. It could be 360. I'm gonna go with 360 just because that is what the launch edition was supposed to have, but it's a lot of power. Torque is ridiculous. When you're in the higher RPMs, it spools up so quickly. The steering is just phenomenal. I'm gonna roll down the windows just for a second, hoping it doesn't blow the sound out, but hopefully you guys can hear that. It is so loud right beside my ear there. It's the best. so glad Lotus was able to create a car with two very distinct personalities. That wasn't the most responsive downshift. Sometimes you'll get really snappy downshifts, but it's not the most responsive dual clutch I've experienced, and that's one of the changes they made with the SE is the gearbox tuning, just purely for the sound. But this one is, both the engine and the transmission are specifically tuned by Lotus, so who knows, maybe the SE is a little bit quicker. Like, it's not slow, but I mean, for a dual clutch, it seems to prefer being in manual. That being said, the torque interruption is not there. It is seamless on the shifts, but it doesn't sound like the V6 car. We kind of knew that, but handles great. It's balanced. Not as much confidence, not quite as much confidence as it came in when you're pushing hard, but if you're really close to the ragged edge, you should be on a track anyways. This is annoying though. You have to press that twice and then wait for it to go in reverse. AMG does that better. It's just not quite as refined and precise of a handling experience, a driving experience. And that goes with most aspects of the car. You know, the steering, it's hydraulic power steering. It's not quite as laser direct, although I would say I'm getting more feel here, a more connected feel than a Cayman, although the GT4 RS was something else. There's just an authentic feel of the front end that is so apparent immediately when you get in the car, even around a parking lot. There's so little assist. But yeah, you make any sudden movements, you know, lifting off the throttle or getting on the throttle too early, you can feel the rear end not get a little bit unsettled, but it's making its presence known. And you do get the sense that if you were too abrupt with any kind of inputs, even at like 7/10, that it could get away from you. Brakes are definitely grabby. The top of the pedal really doesn't do anything. But when you really get into it, it requires some muscle. Definitely cater to the canyon over the street. All right, you guys. That's the Lotus Emira inline 4 turbo. It's a great car. I would still take this over, let's call it an equivalently priced Cayman. And the Cayman, yes, is more money, but that's ridiculous. So ridiculous. And somehow, and I don't know why, a turbocharged 4-cylinder is less offensive here than it is in a lower tier Cayman, you know, below, the 4.0 GTS 4.0. It's less offensive here, and I don't know if that's because Porsches kind of sound like Subarus, because it's a Boxer 4, obviously, but either way, this is a great daily driver. It's fairly comfortable. You know, the Michelins were way better, and perhaps that has a little bit to do with that kind of not unsettled feeling in the rear end, but it's just there's a little bit less confidence in the mechanical grip than there is in the sport package, which makes sense. I'll take this though any day. It's still got a ton of grip. 90% of the feel is still there. And on LA freeways around here, the ride is just that much better. It's just that much more livable. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe. And yeah, the full review will be down in the description. We'll see you soon.